How do you see this working out long-term for both clubs?
Well, this is interesting on a number of different levels. And we'll start with the Cubs. They're pushing, and they paid a higher price than they probably would have in 2 weeks to make this deal right now because they need that boost. They're looking up at the Milwaukee Brewers of all teams, and they've had a terrible first half, let's be honest about it, and they've got to get things going. Bringing in Quintana right before the second half is about to begin, and the energy needs to be there for them because they've got to make a run. Now they've got Quintana. They've had the injuries in their rotation. It helps them in the rotation, but it's also a piece for them for the longer term. From the White Sox perspective, it's really fascinating to me that they continue to get really, really good prospects. You got a haul for Adam Eaton, got a haul for Chris Sale. This is a good haul too, but it's different in that the two primary pieces in Jimenez and Cease are both A-ball guys. And A-ball guys typically have more volatility to them because the path to the major leagues is obviously further up. And so this is a bit of a departure for them. There's more risk in this for the White Sox, and they're gambling a bit to get the higher-end talent on some of that predictability.
Another thing that Theo Epstein brought up is that they weren't going to make trades, that they were going to try and resolve this from within. We see that that clearly is not the case, saying one thing and doing another. But as far as some of the other clubs are concerned, let's talk about the Astros. You mentioned the Brewers, both of whom are leading their division, as well as the New York Yankees, who are just 3.5 behind the Boston Red Sox. All of them reportedly interested in going all in on making a trade for Quintana as well. So where does that leave that trio of clubs?
Right. They're got to look into other areas. Sonny Gray comes to mind. You know, I think teams are probably going to knock on the Blue Jays' door for Marcus Stroman, although I don't think that's going to happen because the Blue Jays aren't interested in making a futures trade. But a team like the Astros that wants to really bolster their team for this year and add without subtracting too much from their farm system, they're going to be a little bit scared at the price right here because this was a very expensive trade in terms of prospect capital. The Cubs were very aggressive. It's a good return for the White Sox. There is the volatility with the A-ball guys, but you're talking about two premier prospects, one of whom played in the futures game just Sunday. So they're going to have to ante up if they want to keep pace.
It's always interesting to see when clubs are close or within reach how much they're willing to give up, how much they're willing to leverage the future to win right now. But one of those teams that has been kind of caught in the crossfires over the last couple of years, of course, is the Blue Jays. We've seen them make big trades along the way. What does this transaction in particular, you think, mean down the line for them, or at least in the next 3 weeks or so?
I think it reinforces what the going rate for a pitcher with control is. And Quintana's got control through 2020 because there's two options after this season. Now, if somebody wants to, say, take a run at the Blue Jays guys like Marcus Stroman or Aaron Sanchez or Roberto Osuna, the Blue Jays can say, well, hey, look, this is the going rate. Now, they're not looking to make that prospect deal. I think what we're most likely to see from the Blue Jays, at least the way things stand right now, is a type of deal where they're adding without subtracting significantly from their farm system or their big league club. Now, if there's an opportunity for a baseball deal, a need-for-need type of trade, I think they'd look at that as well. But they're not going to be in the market for rental players unless they come to them essentially free like Miguel Montero did. Or if they can get them at such a minimal cost that it's non-invasive, maybe they take on some money but get a prospect or two in the same transaction like they did last year with Liriano.